Yeah. In the face of the inconclusive 2023 presidential election of Nigeria held in February 2023, Nigeria has fallen into an interregnum. I repeat, Nigeria has lapsed into an interregnum, going by all of what has happened so far since the 29th of May 2023, when the swearing-in ceremony, the ritual of swearing-in had to be carried out even in open defiance of a constitution that's already disputed. Now, we recall that in the immediate aftermath of the February 25th election, I think it was March 20th, by a broadcast titled Nigeria's Botched 2023 presidential election, a people's countermand to a voyage to doom. We can go to YouTube and verify. NINAS had explained what had happened to everybody with the election. How INEC was able to do what it did because of the centralized control of the electoral machinery as dictated by the fraudulent constitution of Nigeria, by the unitary constitution of Nigeria. And everything that went wrong with the election, whether it was the registration, voter registration, or the PVC distribution, or the bypass of BVA on the day of reckoning election day, or even just the logistics that were managed, in the most lopsided, everything that went wrong with the election, all the way to the results that was announced, with the impunity we saw with Mahmoud Yakubu, who had jettisoned the rules under which INEC should have been. So the election was done unlawfully because it was done outside the Electoral Act. The election result was pronounced unconstitutionally because there's a requirement of 25% that was not met by the candidate. But all of these, are a lesser quarrel from the main dispute around the legitimacy of the constitution, which was why NINAS had counseled against going to further national elections under the 1999 constitution. NINAS had proposed a transition in which we would have been sorting out the damaged constitutional basis of Nigeria before plunging to election. But what did everybody do? Oh, we go on. The political parties, APC, PDP, Labour Party, PVC, everything wobbled on like people who had lost their collective memory, forgetting what happened to Nigeria in the period between 64 65 that became 1966. Disputed constitutional arrangement arising from 1962 suspension of the Constitution of Western Region by the federal government unconstitutionally at the time, that now led to the collapse of the Federation of Nigeria in January of 1966. We're on that same trajectory right now. And NINAS had proposed in very clear terms on the 16th of December in 2020 a 5-point suggestion of what Nigeria could do to avoid repeating that kind of that historical mistake that cost so much life, that plunged us into the mess we are in now, the unitary constitutional arrangement that is now about to consume Nigeria itself. And so after that first broadcast about the botched election and the people's counterman, we had invited the Nigerians that are now crying all over the place, whether they are being slaughtered in southern Kaduna, or they are being slaughtered in Plateau, or they are being slaughtered in Benue, or they are being slaughtered in Nasarawa, elsewhere, everywhere. Look at the people who are slaughtering you. Look at the reason they are able to do it. Find out why you don't have guns in your hand. And then look back at what Rufai just admitted to the other day, what he confirmed to us, the Fulani conquest agenda. That is where you are now. The Fulani is standing on the constitution they imposed to tie your hands to the back, to seize your assets, to impoverish you, and El-Rufai, their champion, has just told you that they have conquered you. But why is El-Rufai able to talk in June or so? Yes, in June of 2023. Why is a character like El-Rufai, who should have been accounting for his role in the genocide going on in Kaduna, which he confessed to by himself as having gone to give out money to people who were coming to kill people in his domain of Kaduna State, southern Kaduna particularly, in 14 countries in the West African sub-region. I mean, this was El-Rufai confessing on national, admitting on national TV that he was the one that had to go to give them money as his response, governor, as his response to the killings they were coming to do. Oh, I give you money now, Fulani is now in charge, slow down a little. That was what he said he did. And now he has come to confirm that the Fulani conquest agenda has succeeded. And so we bring in that aspect to let us know where we are. The election is inconclusive, totally inconclusive. The issues that went to court, that will go to already before the presidential election petition tribunal, the Court of Appeal, that will inevitably go to the Supreme Court through the next few months, are not frivolous issues. There is the one of constitutional deficiency, the 25% that the winner that was announced did not have. The one of the electronic transmission of results, in which INEC abandoned what the law mandated. And then the one of the factual events of the day, people who killed others, people who beat up others, people who carried ballot boxes, people who altered the results that were already generated, all those things. So we have factual grounds. Of course, the foreign observers were unanimous in saying that what happened was just a charade. So we have the factual grounds, the brigandage of election day, enough to nullify what happened. We have legal grounds, abandonment of the INEC guidelines made pursuant to Electoral Act to transmit election results from polling units to server real time on election day. That abandonment means INEC conducted the election outside the stipulation of the law regulating its mandate to conduct election. And then the third ground upon which the entire exercise could be thrown into the waste bin is the fact that the winner they declared is deficient in the 25% required of the votes cast at the federal capital to the credit of whoever has to be declared the winner. And so these issues that have gone to court, the length of time the Court of Appeal will take, the length of time the Supreme Court will take, because there's no how it won't get to Supreme Court, and also the possibility of nullifying that February 25, 2023 exercise, that's the presidential election of February 25, 2023, the possibility of the entire exercise being jettisoned for a rerun, some kind of another election being ordered. It could happen at the Court of Appeal, it could happen at the Supreme Court. These are all possibilities. And so NINAS interest in all of it. NINAS is not interested in whether it is party A or party B or candidate C that comes out of we told them, don't go to this election. If you go to this election, Nigeria will come to grief. The union that has been distressed might now come to where it goes up in smoke. We told them that they will get into a logjam because we knew the underlying currents, the ethnic fissures, the ethnic fractures underneath that were being, papered over, because the Fulani conquest agenda was still ongoing the bitterness across the ethnic lines were still there, and we saw it play out in the elections. We saw Igbos being killed in Lagos because they were Igbo trying to vote. We saw all kinds of things happening, and so we saw what happened in Port Harcourt. And they are sad reminders of the cycle Nigeria had been through since 1966. And if you take it back to 1962, that was the beginning of the cascade. And so NINAS is here again to say that the summary of what has happened is that Nigeria does not have a government, a legitimate government. We are not talking about legality now, because many of the lawyers who cannot make a distinction between legitimacy and legality will say, oh, NINAS is saying, no, there's nothing else. We are saying that than that the illegitimacy of what has happened is at law now, is to be interpreted, and that's what NINAS is doing now. Can at law be interpreted to mean that Nigeria is in an interregnum. Look at the spelling, go to your dictionary or go find out from whatever a source you can Google. Find out the meaning of interregnum. We have pretenders at legitimacy. We have pretenders at authority. That investiture of power outside what the Constitution and the law prescribes leaves it, leaves it inconclusive. The fact that somebody was sworn in, of course, because of the rules they set among themselves, we are not interested in those rules. As long as that Constitution 1999 is the basis of the Nigerian Union, basis of Nigeria's democracy, and all of what they are doing, we raise our issue. The issue we raised December 16th, 2020, stand above all of the fray, all of the fights amongst, there are like 3 robbery gangs fighting over what was taken from us. Our sovereignty is what we're talking about. Our sovereignty that was hijacked by that constitution. All of the political parties subscribe to that constitution. And so the fact that they are fighting among themselves for who will come to hold the head of the knife in that hijack of our sovereignty, because that's what it means, going to election under the constitution that make us slaves, that impoverish us, that expose us to the danger we are in now, which El-Rufai seems to be mocking everybody about. The danger of extermination, the danger of being overrun, like those who have already been overrun can attest to. And so Nigeria is in an interregnum right now. Until they sort out themselves in court, NINAS is then on that bridge. Because we told in another broadcast that predated the election by almost 8 months at least, almost 1 year, we told the whole world that the fate of Nigeria will be decided on the bridge to 2023. We are still on that bridge. In fact, that is the most important reason for this broadcast. Telling Nigerians that the election, presidential election of 2023 is far from being over. And it's not going to be over until the last pronouncement has been made at the Supreme Court. Every day between now and the time they make that pronouncement, and mind you, that pronouncement can be go and conduct another election, of which the period continues, the period of inconclusivity continues until that election that has to be rerun is rerun, and an outcome that is not in controversy emerges, so that whoever now becomes president is vested with authority. What they've done now is just a brigandage, and everything, whether it is P2B or Tinubu, that whatever they are doing now is a product of something that can, that the law, the constitution, as disputed as it is, because we were tolerating it, for the sake of avoiding anarchy. That limited toleration, that limited recognition extended to that constitution that should have been thrown overboard all the while, is now being decapitated by what they've done. They have defied the constitution in investing somebody who does not qualify in the eye of that constitution as president. So in defying that constitution, they're inviting the rest of us to join in that defiance. And we're inviting the rest of Nigeria, all of those who are crying about what is happening to them under unitary Nigeria. We're inviting you to come so that we can hold hands and go to the transition that can begin to address these issues. Election will not address the issue, no matter what the outcome, no matter whether it is P2B or Tinubu or Atiku or Rerun that emerges from what they've gone to do in court. It does not address the problem. It is that constitution that is the problem. And why it is dangerous is that it is the caliphate that imposed that constitution that is now taking advantage of it to advance their conquest mission. If you do not make any connection between the two, we ask you to go back to the broadcast of NINAS titled 2023 elections as a caliphate decoy for its conquest, agenda. That's if you go to YouTube, just type the word 2023 election as a caliphate strategic decoy. You will see it. When we are telling our people that these people are dragging you to election, at a time we are telling you not to go to election. If you go to election, they are going to resuscitate the constitution we have defeated. That constitution is the instrument by which the Fulani is prevailing over you. That constitution is the reason they are able to come to kill you. That constitution is the reason they are able to take your economic assets. The oil and gas of Niger Delta does not belong to them today on account of that constitution that hijacked it from them. For those who are dancing around in Abuja thinking that their friend have become president, that constitution is reason the port assets of Lagos are in the hands of Fulani Controller General from independence to date. That constitution is reason the oil and gas of Niger Delta is allotted to Dangote to come and refine for you, and the monopoly of license to refine is granted to him as if nobody else can do refining. Niger Republic is refining 20,000 barrels of crude every day. That's the only thing they have as refinery, but it's working. It's serving their local need. They're even selling what is left. Nigeria said they will buy from them. It was Buhari that was at the center of how that refinery was built, when our own refineries were run down by the federal government that has exclusive control. All of those who are planning to come and jump out and dance on the street about subsidy that is removed, if you are not prepared to pay attention for what to do to arrest the source of the problem, not only are you going to get further impoverished, because you never cease talking about subsidy, no matter what anybody does, except that impediment, that constitutional impediment, blockade is removed. You are going to be dependent on whatever they do to give you the product. At the end of the day, it will not be available. You can see the Dangote refinery is not even producing yet, and they are talking about having the new fellow that comes to government house says, oh, something is gone. He's boasting about it as if he knows what he's talking about. What is the meaning of subsidy? For a country that has 3 million barrels of crude oil it pumps out every day, it cannot refine the 10% that will service the local need. And the government that has brought that failure and that hardship upon the people is boasting about what it's going to do to increase the price of the product, because they are now importing finished products from overseas. The employment that should have been coming from refining here is not here, is being exported to people who are refining for us. So somebody who now says he's coming to fix everything for you is boasting that they say subsidy is gone, and look at where it's left everybody now. So let us get it clear. The election, presidential election 2023, is still ongoing and will remain ongoing until the last word has been spoken. And if that word says rerun, until that rerun is done. So we are discussing something that is no less than 5 months from now. We told them they will get into a logjam. We said we'll do everything to bring the election to a logjam, so that we will sit on that bridge of 2023 to resolve the basis of Nigeria. And if we are not resolving it, everybody, if we can't discuss Nigeria, then we must disperse. If we can't discuss Nigeria, then we must disperse now. There's no waiting for anybody to come and perform any magic, because no magic can be performed with a constitution that ties everybody down as slaves in their land. It's not going to happen. For whatever reason, Oliver Tambo, Nelson Mandela, Governor Mbeki, Winnie Mandela, and the rest of them, for whatever reason, they insisted that the apartheid constitution that made blacks slaves in South Africa could not be basis of their society, basis of their union. That is our reason today for saying that the constitution that hijacked our sovereignty and all our lives cannot remain basis with our signature inside on it as the ones who submitted to be enslaved. That's what that preamble says. We the people have solemnly resolved. That's what we are raising. All the politicians that swore to defend and uphold that constitution on the 29th of May in 2023 were swearing to defend and uphold your enslavement, your impoverishment, your slaughter. That's what they were swearing to defend and uphold. And you who went to vote in the election mandated by that constitution, you were the one who approved of the continuation of that impoverishment, the continuation of those killings that are happening under that constitution, and the continuation of the situation, all the situation you are lamenting about, whether it's corruption or impunity or lack of infrastructure or inequality that has now become you call it a quota system in one form and call it a federal character in another form, forcing young people to run out of Nigeria to their death. The body parts of young Nigerians have now become stable source of human organ parts because their country is unlivable, and that constitution is at the center of why your country is unlivable, and you are being invited to come to join the task of dismantling it. You allow ignorance to lead you. The church leaders are there asking them to go and get PVC. The sheep seem to be leading the shepherd here. The shepherd that led the sheep to slaughter. And now there's another opportunity. We have a few months to get back to that task and finish it. You are inviting them to go and pray for tribunal. What kind of demonic possession could that be? That you have made the error of going to election under a constitution controlled by the enemy. You've seen the outcome. You have a chance. God is a God of second chance. God has given us all a second chance to now declare with NINAS that this constitution is the problem that has to be solved ahead of every other thing. Not any one of these people that will emerge. That's not the solution to the problem. Whether it is Peter Obi or Tinubu or Atiku, none of them is going to solve the problem if that constitution is not taken down. That's what we should do. It's bad enough that you led people to PVC at the time we were saying, let's shut down the journey and go to transition. Now you are asking them to pray for tribunal, forgetting that tribunal and the courts are just the judicial arm of the same system. You've seen the executive branch and the kind of people that are now manning it. A joint venture between drug cartels and terror cartels have now taken over the criminal enterprise Nigeria has been under this constitution. And you can see, you are leading people to come and pray. You might as well go to pray for the devil to repent. Those who are suffering, those who are crying, those who are going to be killed, those who are already being killed, you have a choice to make. You have education. You are listening now, you are hearing, you can research. We have more than 200 and no less than 230 broadcasts, spanning across the last 3 years on this subject. Why can't you put aside whatever you were thinking? Because this is a choice that could mean life or death for you. You're only going to be statistics. You're only going to be collateral damage. As for whether that concern is going down, it's going down. Whatever is built on it, everything anchored on that constitution will go down with it. The only choice we have to make now is the quantum of collateral damage. How soon are we coming to that common ground of let's go and solve the problem? And if we're not solving it, everybody should get ready for whatever those who are pressed will begin to do. Nobody will have control over what people who are facing the danger of death might want to do to save themselves. That's why we have brought ourselves. But there's still a chance if we can move away from talking about mandates or who amongst the subscribers to that constitution will be the best for us, best leadership under the constitution that mandate evil, that mandate death, that mandate corruption, that mandate poverty at the level Nigeria is now the leading case, the global capital for poverty. That's what you are trying to sustain in saying, oh, let's wait in court. The victims of what we are talking about now, the 200 million people whose lives are being, just frittered away and mortgaged, should make up their minds. All you need to do is to come to join in saying, under this constitution, we move no more, we go no further. Let us stop now, like South Africa stopped in 1990, to solve the damaged constitutional basis of Nigeria. If we are not doing that, you are then signing up to be killed. You are signing up for the Fulani conquest agenda, because they are marching to where you are. It doesn't matter whether you are in Enugu or Port Harcourt or Lagos. They are coming to you. I already told you. So it is a choice you have to make, to join in saying NINAS is right, constitution is the problem, transition now. That's all you need to do. And we'll solve this problem while they are still in court trying to determine who amongst the thieves will hold onto the loot. That's what they're fighting over in court. We're not interested in it. Let us face the one that will solve the problem. Take down this constitution in course of this interregnum. And the international community, of course, will understand the meaning of what we are saying. We know that diplomats are going to be looking at it. Nigeria is in an interregnum right now. And anybody dealing with the impostors that have defied our constitution, as disputed as it is, what has happened now is something that cannot confer authority. Yes, people are in power. They are able to do executive actions here and there, but these are all gimmickry. These are all psychological gimmickry to divert the attention of people into thinking that the election has come and gone, and people are now sworn in and they are doing all kinds of things. It's just what it is, an attempt to deceive. The substantive situation is that the election of 2023 remains inconclusive until something else happens to resolve it. And in that period, those who say that constitution cannot be basis, NINAS is continuing full speed in what it's doing to take down that constitution, take us into transition to sort out the matter. And if we are not going together to sort it, unilateral actions are bound to overtake everybody, because nobody can just fold his arms and be killed, because other people have to prevail. We stop here.